A $250 pistol just outshooting a $500 one at the same range, with the same ammo, against the same targets. Not once, consistently. And the guy holding the cheap gun knows it. Something shifted in the firearms market. Budget guns used to mean cut corners, weak parts, and frustration at the range. Not anymore. 12 guns on this list are changing that conversation completely. Some of them are already embarrassing premium firearms that cost twice as much. Number 12 might be the most surprising place to start. Number 12, Ruger EC9S. Ruger had a problem to solve. Millions of people wanted a reliable 9mm carry pistol under $300, but the options at that price were mostly junk. So Ruger took their LC9S, which sells for around $100 more, and stripped it down to the mechanical essentials. Same action, same through-hardened alloy steel slide, same 3.12-inch barrel. They pulled the adjustable rear sights, simplified the surface finish, and dropped the price to $250 street. The result is a 9mm that is less than 1 inch wide, weighs 17.2 ounces empty, and disappears under a t-shirt. Reviewers at Pro Armory ran 300 rounds through one with 0 malfunctions, including hollow point defensive loads. American Firearms documented several hundred rounds with no stoppages. That steel slide is the detail worth stopping on. At this price, most makers use stamped metal or polymer slides. Ruger used through hardened alloy steel, the same material found in pistols that cost $400 and up. The EC9S does not look expensive, it just performs like it is. Number 11, Taurus G3, $235. Before you judge that number, open the box. Inside a Taurus G3, you get a full-size polymer frame with a stainless steel slide, a 4-inch barrel, and a 15+1 magazine. That alone is competitive with guns at $350. But the G3 also ships with a Picatinny rail, drift-adjustable sights, interchangeable backstraps, and a restrike capability, meaning if a round does not fire the first time, you can pull the trigger again without cycling the slide. That feature alone costs extra on most firearms. The trigger pull is around 5.5 to 6 pounds, which is heavier than some competitors. But the reset after the break is only a 1/4 inch of travel. Fast and consistent once you learn it. One honest detail: this gun has a real break-in period. Plan for at least 200 to 300 rounds before you trust it for carry. Some users report hollow point feeding issues in the first couple of 100 rounds with specific ammo. After that window, the gun settles in and runs without complaint. At this price, the G3 is not competing with cheap guns. It is competing with guns at $400 and winning on paper. Number 10. High Point 995 Carbon. Most people laugh at High Point. That is the reputation. And the 995 carbine earns part of it. It is blocky, heavy in the wrong places, uses a proprietary magazine that does not share with the pistol, and looks like it was designed in a break room with graph paper. But that blowback operating system, the one that dates back to World War II submachine guns, is why this gun will not quit. The design has almost nothing to break. Bolt mass and a recoil spring manage the whole firing cycle. No gas system, no locking lugs. Just steel doing what steel does. The 16.25-inch barrel is where budget buyers get a real advantage over pistol owners. That same 9mm round that produces 1,200 feet per second from a handgun barrel gets a meaningful velocity boost from a longer barrel. More velocity means better terminal performance at distance. Long-term owners on Sniper Country and Bud's Gun Shop report thousands of rounds over a decade with no parts failures. And High Point backs it with a lifetime warranty. No registration, no purchase proof. Just call them. That warranty policy is better than most premium brands. Is it a refined shooting experience? No. But for under $300, A home defense carbine option that will not quit and cost nothing to fix is hard to argue against. Number 9. Ruger 10/20 Carbinet, millions sold since 1964. At some point that stops being a sales statistic and starts being a verdict. The 10/22 is a .22 LR semi-automatic carbine with an 18.5-inch barrel, a 10-round rotary magazine, and a blowback action built from the same core design Ruger has been refining for 60 years. It weighs logo 0.5 pounds. Base models sell for around $200 to $310. As of late 2025, Ruger updated their 10/22 production standard, making the high-performance BX trigger a factory-installed feature across their core performance and target models. That trigger has a 2.5 to 3-pound pull with a clean break. Before that change, shooters paid extra to add that trigger as an aftermarket upgrade. Now it ships in the box at no added cost. NRA accuracy testing documented 3-shot groups averaging 1.0 to 1.25 inches at 25 yards with quality ammunition. A competitive rimfire shooter can take this same base platform and build a steel challenge rifle on top of it. A 10-year-old shooting for the first time can run it without fear. The range of who this gun serves is almost absurd. Compare that to a CMG Banshee 9mm pistol caliber carbine at over $1,000. The 10/22 handles different caliber and different use cases, but for pure value at entry-level shooting, nothing in the carbine market touches this price-to-performance ratio. Number 8. Mossberg Maverick 88. The Mossberg 500 has been in production since 1961. Over 12 million have been made. It passed Mil-Spec 3443, the U.S. military's destructive testing standard for pump-action shotguns. It is in police departments, military armories, and hunting camps on every continent. The Maverick 88 uses almost all of the same parts: dual extractors, twin action bars, anti-jam elevator, steel-to-steel lockup. These mechanical components are pulled directly from the Mossberg 500 design. The differences are minor. The trigger group uses a cross-bolt safety at the trigger guard instead of the 500's top-mounted tang safety. Some barrel finishing work is done overseas before final assembly in Eagle Pass, Texas. That is the list. Stocks, barrels, and Aku choke tubes from the Mossberg 500 fit the Maverick 88 directly. A 2026 review from Everything Firearms ran thousands of rounds through the Maverick and recorded this conclusion. The twin-bolt locking system and robust pump action cycled thousands of rounds without failure, matching the reliability of much more expensive platforms. A Remington 870 Express now runs around $400. The Maverick 88 does the same mechanical job for $215 to $275. That is the same shotgun DNA at 60% of the price. Number 7. Mossberg 500. If the Maverick 88 is the budget option, the Mossberg 500 is the one you buy when you want 2 guns in one box. The combo package ships with an 18.5-inch cylinder bore security barrel and a longer field barrel. Swap them in 30 seconds with no tools. One gun handles home defense on Tuesday and duck season in November. That level of versatility at $400 to $500 has no real competitor in the pump shotgun market beyond the combo value. The Mossberg 500 carries a certification no other civilian pump shotgun has ever earned. The U.S. military put it through Mil-Spec 3443 testing, which means destructive load testing, extreme condition cycling, and operational abuse that eliminates most platforms. The 500 passed. That is not marketing language. It is a government document. The aftermarket is enormous. Stocks, extended magazine tubes, rail systems, and sling mounts from dozens of manufacturers all fit. A Benelli Nova runs around $450 for a single-barrel gun with far less aftermarket depth. The Mossberg 500 does more for equal money. Number 6. Ruger Siki 9. The Glock 19 is 7.36 inches long, 4.99 inches tall, 1.26 inches wide, and holds 15 rounds. It weighs 23.63 ounces empty. It costs around $500. The Ruger Security 9 is 7.24 inches long, 5 inches tall, 1.3 inches wide, and holds 15 rounds. It weighs 23.7 ounces empty. It costs around $280 to $380. Those two guns are the same size, the same capacity, and $200 apart in price. The Security 9 is hammer-fired with an internal hammer, which means the slide is slightly easier to rack than a striker-fired gun. That is a real benefit for new shooters, older shooters, and anyone with reduced grip strength. The aluminum chassis inside the polymer frame gives it a density and a feel in the hand that does not telegraph its price. Trigger pull averages logo 0.3 pounds. Drift adjustable sights are standard. The USA Carry Review recorded 0 malfunctions across full testing. The Security 9 does not have an optics cut, night sights, or interchangeable backstraps. Those are the concessions Ruger made to hit the price. What did not get cut is the mechanical reliability. Eagle Gun Range put it side by side with the Glock 19 and described it as a direct challenger for nearly half the price. That comparison held up on the range. Number 5. Smith & Wesson M&P Shields in 2012. The original M & Shield became one of the best-selling carry guns in the country. Slim profile, reliable action, proven warranty record. Smith & Wesson understood what worked and did not break it when they updated it. The Shield Plus in 2021 added a staggered magazine design that pushed capacity to 10+1 or 13+1 rounds without widening the grip past 1 inch. The flat-face trigger geometry was improved over the original model. The 3.1-inch melanite barrel resists corrosion and handles daily carry abuse without degrading over thousands of rounds. Voodoo Firearms documented 2,500 rounds through the Shield Plus with 0 malfunctions. The Mag Shack carried 1 daily for over 2 years and put 1,300 plus rounds through it. Both came back with the same report. This gun competes directly with the SIG P365, which starts at around $499. In that matchup, the Shield Plus offers the same capacity tier, the same carry profile, and a longer fielded track record at an equal or lower price depending on configuration. The optics-ready version is also available at the same price range. The SIG name carries weight. So does the Smith & Wesson name. At this price point, the Shield Plus is not asking you to settle. Number 4. Canik TP9S Fin Competitive Shooting Circles. The Canik TP9SF developed a reputation before most American shooters knew how to pronounce the brand name. Turkish company, NATO contractor, full-size duty pistol, match-grade trigger out of the box. The TP9SF is a striker-fired polymer frame 9mm with a logo point 19-inch barrel and an 18+1 magazine. The Glock 17, which is the direct competitor in this size class, holds 17+1. Canik ships this pistol with 2 magazines, multiple backstraps, a holster, and a cleaning rod. Glock ships 2 magazines in a plastic case. The trigger is where this gun creates the gap. Reviewers across the Firearm blog, Gun Universe, and Craft Holsters all land on the same word. The TP9SF trigger is better than the factory Glock trigger. Lighter pull, cleaner break, shorter reset. Canik tests every pistol in this series to NATO accuracy standards before it ships. The Glock 17 costs $550 or more. The TP9SF costs $330 to $399. That $200 spread buys you a gun with a worse trigger and 1 fewer round in the magazine. The aftermarket for Canik is smaller than Glock. That gap is real and it matters for long-term customization. But for someone buying a full-size 9mm to run as is for range use, home defense, or competition, the TP9SF is already a finished product. Number 3. CZ Pitenci. CZ is a Czech firearms manufacturer that has been building pistols and rifles for over 80 years. When they decided to enter the polymer striker-fired market, they had one specific target. They built the P10C to beat the Glock 19, not compete with it. Beat it, the barrel in the P10C is cold hammer forged. That process uses extreme mechanical pressure to compress and shape the steel, producing a denser bore with better wear resistance and tighter consistency across the rifling. You find cold hammer forged barrels in expensive precision rifles and military-grade handguns. The P10C ships with one at under $400. A 1,500 round test documented by USA Gun Shop in 2026 produced 0 malfunctions across brass and steel case ammunition. Trigger pull averaged 4.5 pounds with a defined wall before the break and a short positive reset. Multiple head-to-head tests between the P10C and the Glock 19 Gen 5 describe the CZ trigger as meaningfully better out of the box. The Glock 19 Gen 5 now runs between $599 and $745 depending on configuration. The P10C gives you metal 3-dot sights, ambidextrous controls, a 15+1 capacity, and that cold hammer forged barrel for $350 to $400. The gun CZ, built to dethrone Glock, is currently selling for $200 to $300 less than Glock. The math is uncomfortable for the premium side of this comparison. Number 2. PSA Dagger Compact. Palmetto State Armory looked at the Glock 19 and did something no American manufacturer had done cleanly before. They built a direct functional clone at $300, made it accept Glock magazines and Glock aftermarket parts, and shipped it with features the real Glock does not include at that price. The PSA Dagger Compact is a striker-fired polymer frame 9mm built to Glock 19 Gen 3 external dimensions. The slide comes with an RMR optics cut. A beaver tail is standard on the frame. The trigger guard is undercut for a higher grip. Suppressor height sights ship on select configurations. On the actual Glock 19, several of those features require buying aftermarket parts. Pew Pew Tactical ran 3,000 rounds through multiple dagger frames and slides. Their documented conclusion: accurate, reliable, and it ships with more features than the G19 out of the box. Number 1. Taurus GX4. In 2018, SIG Sauer released the P365 and changed the micro-compact market overnight. A pistol that held 10+1 rounds of 9mm in a frame small enough for deep concealment had never existed before. SIG priced it at $499. The market accepted every dollar of it. Taurus watched. Then they built the GX4. The GX4 is not a reskinned version of an older design. Taurus engineered it from the ground up as a direct answer to the P365. The internal stainless steel chassis and dual metal slide raceways give the frame a rigidity that polymer-only designs cannot match. Taurus reduced the parts count from 56 components in the G3 to 48 components in the GX4. Fewer parts and tighter tolerances. The NRA reviewed the GX4 and printed this in their official journal. Performs as well or better than the highest-priced guns in this hot category. Their specific description of the trigger: much crisper and cleaner than most two-stagers out there, with a reset that is short and tangible. American Firearms ran 2,500 rounds through the GX4 across FMJ, steel case, and hollow point ammunition. Minimal malfunctions, and the ones that occurred were traced to specific ammunition rather than the pistol.